gonna record the meeting now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first networking event to connect, share, and collaborate. Today, we are joined by Chinese moms living inside and outside China. They are from different cities and provinces such as Shanghai, Anhui, Shenzhen, Wuhan, Nanjing, and from Singapore and the UK. From English speaker side, we have the pleasure to host native speakers from the UK, US, South Africa, Canada, New Zealand. I don't know if we got Australian here, but they are from different English speaking countries and are currently living in Europe, South Africa, North and South America. So thank you so much for either getting up early or staying up late for this networking event. What everybody have in common today is our passion for education. Many of the educators or moms, they have taught Chinese children either English or other skills, therefore developing a passion and interest in Chinese culture. For the moms in the group today, apparently everybody has natural passion to know how to bring up their children in a better way. Hence, our topic today is all about education. We have invited 3 speakers today, 2 moms from China, both living in Shanghai, 1 mom from the USA. Before they introduce themselves, I am going to play a game called Guess Who. So I will say 1 attribute of the mom, and for you, if you know which mom is that, feel free to type the mom's name in the chat box. So the first mom, she has an international family. Her partner, her husband, is different from her own cultural background. Is it Yvonne or Cheri or Faye for our speaker? So everybody feel free to type in the chat box. Which mom do you guess has an international background? So I'm gonna, a lot of people say Faye. Okay, we will soon find out if you are right or not. Faye, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, well, speaking of international family, I guess you must. Yeah, you heard all that screaming in the background, right? Yeah, I'm living in Shanghai. My husband is Jamaican, and so obviously you can tell, I have a pretty loud family. The kids talk a lot, and so I mean, I don't really know. I mean, in terms of kids, blood-wise, they are half Jamaican, they are half Chinese, and they go to American school here in Shanghai. So, yeah, I guess that's very international. It's very hard for us to put any specific label on ourselves. So that is my daughter, of course, who just showed up out of nowhere, right? My son is 13 years old, an 8th grader, and my daughter, 11 years old, a 6th grader. Both in middle school right now.
Great, fantastic, thank you. So that's Faye, who has a very international family. The second mom, she is the mom who has most children among our speakers. She's got 4 children. So process of elimination, is she Cheri or is she Yvonne? Feel free to type in the chat box. So Jody, I think you know Cheri very well. So that's Cheri, who has a very big family. Over to you, Cheri. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheri Gibson, and yes, I have 4 children. My children consist of 2 boys and 2 girls. My boys are actually from Russia. They were adopted from Russia. They were adopted from Kemerovo. And my 2 daughters are my daughters that I gave birth to, but they're all my children. And so we are an international family as well.
I see.
So I am a speech therapist. I've been in the education field for over 20 years. I've worked in just about every single discipline that a speech therapist can work in. I've worked with babies who could not feed easily, and then I've worked with people up to over 100 years of age. But most of my career has been working with children from birth to about age 7. That is I really love working with young children, helping them develop language. And for the last 5 years, I've been working online, both as a speech therapist and as an ESL teacher. And I'm excited to be here. I have a group of teachers in a Facebook group as well that I mentor, and they are coming to me saying, Cheri, you work privately with students. How do you do this? And can you help me? And I need to find more students. So I always say, contact Minji, because Minji is a great person to help coach you through that process. So that's how I met Minji, and I've known Jody for a while as well, because she's a superstar.
Great, fantastic, Cheri. So 2 international moms here. The third mom, she has only 1 child and she loves food. So guess who is this mom? Yvonne, over to you.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm Yvonne Ho. I'm Minji's junior middle school classmate and also her schoolmate in high school. So I'm very glad to be here and to share some of my opinion and also the information with you all. And as Minji mentioned, I've got only 1 kid and a boy at the age of 11 years old. And currently he is in grade 6 and also junior middle school in Shanghai. So as Minji mentioned, I love nice foods, and I'm also interested in different culture, languages, food. I like cooking and reading. Yeah.
So Yvonne, a food lover, and she actually, her boy goes to a public school in China. That's why this is very nice for us to share 3 perspectives. 1 Chinese mom with public school children experience, 1 Shanghai Chinese mom, international family, whose children goes to international schools, and Cheri, and mom in the States. The children goes to public school, but you have taught in both private and public schools. So we will have a very diverse perspective today. I want to say thank you to Lillian in Singapore, a Chinese mom in Singapore, and Beth in the UK, a Chinese mom in the UK. They volunteered today to help us translate some of the key messages in our WeChat group so that all the Chinese moms will get most out of today, get most value from today. So thank you very much, Lillian and Beth, for your volunteer work today. So now, thank you for the introduction. We are getting into our first topic for panel discussion, time management. Before that, I'd like to get our audience a little bit engaged. So I'm launching this first survey to compare Chinese education and US education on the topic of private education. So please feel free to vote. Which country do you believe has a higher percentage of private schools? Okay, 100% of us voted. I'm gonna end the poll and share result. 40% of us believe China has a higher percentage of private schools. 60% of us believe US has a higher percentage for private schools. I'm gonna stop sharing. Unfortunately, neither answer is correct, because for US and Chinese education, they have approximately, both of them have 10% private schools for their education system. So for that level, they're very similar to each other. Okay, after this quiz, I am going to share our first topic. First question on time management. How do you, as a mom, spend your day, and how do your children spend their day? Our turn taking goes to Yvonne first, Chinese mom, public school. Cheri second, US mom, public school children experience. Then eventually going back to Faye, Chinese mom, international school children. Okay, Yvonne, over to you. How do you spend your day? How does your child spend his day?
Okay, working mother. So I work from Monday to Friday. So during the day, I go to the office. And due to the fact that I'm working for multinational corporations, so sometimes I have to stay very late, midnight, to have the across continental meetings. So, I mean, that's my working days. And on the weekends, I try to spend some time with my kids, and we do some readings. And I also take music instrument lessons. So on a weekly basis. So that's my routine. And every day I try to send my son to his school. So it takes about 15 minutes by car in the morning. So whenever I'm able to make it, I will try to enjoy those 15, 20 minutes with him to school. So that's how I spend my time, sorry. And then, well, I mean, for my son, he attends the public school. So from Monday to Friday, he goes to school. And due to the fact that now he starts his junior middle school, and then he has to go to school very early in the morning. So the school starts from around 7:30. And then he would also stay after school for about 2-3 hours, because nowadays, Shanghai public school offer the after school service. That's for free. And he also has his dinner at school. So after his dinner every day, so either my husband or I go and pick him up from school, and then he came back home. And during the evening, so he will stay home, let me see, about 1 hour for free, and he might play some musical instruments, do some reading, and go to bed. So that's his working day, or say study days. And then on weekends, I suppose most of you might be interested what his weekend is filled up. So he went to attend the science clubs Saturday morning. And Saturday afternoon, he's got one swimming lesson. And then after that, he's free for the rest of Saturday. And on Sunday in the morning, he attends the club for so-called the Young Diplomat course. That is from Shanghai Children's Palace. It's also a government arranged program. And also he attends the wind band during the day, and also do some science course. And almost all is free because it is sponsored by the government. So that's his general weekend arrangement.
Nice. Sounds like both of you have got busy schedules, and I guess it's a same situation with Cheri.
Sure. So my morning starts really early because I am teaching students in China. So I often am up and teaching at 5 a.m. my time. And then my children are all in high school at this point. So they are in 9th and 10th grade. So they are able to get up themselves and get ready for school. They ride a school bus to school, and they leave at about 7:15 a.m. So they're getting ready to get on the bus right now. And they will arrive at school. School starts for them at 8 a.m. They will continue to school until about 3 o'clock p.m. That is the hours of instruction. All 3 of my children do extracurricular activities. So after school, they will have practice. They have cross country where they run long distances. One of them is a golfer, so he golfs. And then my daughter plays volleyball. And if they don't have practice, they have a match or a meet. And that often requires them to play until 8 p.m. So most evenings we don't get home until around 9 p.m. with their activities. They also participate in broadcast club where they learn how to broadcast events from their school. Robotics club is another club that they enjoy participating in. And the sporting activities are part of their school. So they are somewhat free, but often you have to pay money to buy equipment, which can sometimes be a bit costly. A lot of children where I live also pay to participate in sports clubs that are thousands of dollars, where you travel long distances. My oldest daughter has done that before. And then on the weekends, those weekends are primarily filled with going to games. My children may on Sundays, if they don't have games, they may go to church. And then we try to have a family meal together on the weekends, because during the week it's kind of difficult.
So Cheri, it looks like your children spend a lot of time on sports. Is that mainstream, or do you have, is it unusual? Is it mainstream for American culture?
In my region, most families will spend more time at a sports event than they will at an academic event. Where I live in the United States, we do place value on education, but a lot of young children where I live, they go to school and they work hard in school so that they can play sports, because if you don't get good grades, you cannot play sports.
Nice, interesting. Faye, for the two children you have, how do they spend their time? Academic or sports?
I would say sports, mostly sports after school. But I'm going to start with my time, because I think my time's more important than kids' time. Always like, I am more important than kids, right? That's my value. So I'm going to start with my time. So basically, and kids' time probably at the same time. Like normally in the morning, kids get up themselves. They don't really get to see me in the morning, because normally I stay in bed until like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And the good thing is, it's a blessing because we live right next to school. So basically kids probably get up. Normally they get up probably around 7:30, prepare food themselves, breakfast, and they go to school. It's like 5 minutes, probably like 3 minutes walk to school right across the street. Their school start at 8 o'clock. But some of the days, probably like 2 days a week, my son will get up early and have early swimming training in the morning. He will go to school at 6:30. They start at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7:45. That's the swimming training, because he's in a swimming team. He has 2 sessions of training with the school swimming team in the morning, both in the morning during the weekdays. Actually, he also has like more sessions after school, like with private coaches for swimming too. We're going to get to that later on. So basically, their kids are they've gone to school since 8 a.m. I stayed in bed, wake up, read the news. And because currently I'm doing a lot of content, I do a lot of videos and the live streaming stuff. So I need a lot of input in terms of what's going on in the news, what is the hot topic. So basically I spend the morning probably spend a couple of hours in bed while browsing on the news and get ideas for the content I'm going to use for my work. And then I'll probably come down around like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I actually have a mini studio in my house. So I have I no longer go to the office. I used to run a trading company, but now I have my team running the trading part, and I have a few team members. I set up a studio right in my house on the first floor. So basically, then we start the day. We look at what to do, whether we're going to shoot video, we're going to do editing, and et cetera. And then sometimes one of the 5 weekdays we would have a fellowship. We have a women's fellowship late in the morning. So we do some Bible study together. And then after that, sometime I will help the school do some, PTSA, do some work. Basically, that's the Parent Teacher Student Association. Do some work or help with Girl Scout or help with the basketball club, because my son also plays basketball. So I help them a lot during the day, and then also do my work. So my work is like time is not very stable. It's like it's very flexible. I will do my work up to like 6 p.m. where then my team will finish their work. They're gonna leave, right? And then then it goes back to family time. And before 6 p.m., normally like my kids, they finish school at 3 p.m. They pretty much finish about the same time every day. And after school, they have a lot of sports activities. My daughter's doing cross country right now, same as Cheri's kid. And my daughter's also doing tennis. My son is doing, he's having probably like 2 sessions of swimming with his private coach after school, twice a week in the afternoon and twice in the morning. So that's 4 times a week. And also he has basketball. He has basketball like probably like early evening, like a different time. He has it 4 times a week, and he's playing serious basketball right now. And then in the evening, like either I will go to basketball and watch them play, and help them with the basketball club, like organizing events and stuff. And then normally we have like dinner pretty late. We have dinner between 8 p.m., 9 p.m., or sometimes even later. It really depending on when we get home and when we have time to cook. So then they do their homework either between their sports activities, but they don't have a lot of homework. Homework's probably like I would say 1 hour a day. That's about it. They go to bed about 11 p.m. Something like that. So that is the arrangement during the weekdays. And during the weekend, my son on Saturday, my son is doing a full day of sailing. So he's doing competitive sailing as well. And in the evening, we are doing on Saturday evening, we have a family event. We call it Read Aloud. So basically, each of us pick up a book, and each of us read a chapter aloud. And I think this is one. We read aloud, then we discuss the characters, and from the characters, we try to discuss. Try to share what we've been through that week and link that. So this is I really like it. That Saturday. Sunday is probably the busiest, because Sunday we have church, we have the fellowship, the group study, and a lot of time my son has a lot of games, basketball games, and then we have and my daughter has tennis training as well. So basically, you can see our time is filled with sports activities before and after school. Academic only takes like a very small percentage. Yeah, I don't really see we do much academic outside school. Yeah.
Wow. It looks like it doesn't matter if it's sports or science lab or academics, like everybody's having a busy life. For this particular topic, a mom from China, Anhui province, her name is Grace. She has a related question saying, as parents, we are very, very busy. We have very little time to be companion of our children. Some of the extracurricular activity, for example, drum classes, we don't understand them. We don't understand the curriculum, and the child, our boy, he lacks practice opportunity. What do you do in this situation? So I guess it's a question for any of you to take it up if you like. What do you do if you're so busy that you have no time to really guide your child for his or her extracurricular activities or tutoring classes?
Well, I personally think that it's important to surround yourself with a community that you feel holds the same values and principles that you do. And so if you are entrusting a coach with your child for 10 to 15 hours a week, you want to make sure that that coach is going to instruct your child not just in the sport, but also in life and giving them life lessons. So you want to make sure that they are on the same page as you are. So that's how I look at it. I try to pair my children with coaches that I feel are going to help them continue to develop as overall people.
So it's more on the holistic education to develop a well-rounded person. So when the parents choose a coach or tutor, they should look at if that tutor and coach is able to deliver values on growing the child as a like a well-rounded person. I absolutely agree. Faye and Yvonne, would you like to give any input before we move on?
Well, I'm not, okay, go ahead, Yvonne.
No, you go ahead first.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. First of all, I wouldn't really expect myself to be, to be mastering whatever like my kids is doing, because my kid is trying something new. I don't have to know everything about it. I wouldn't set that expectation on myself, right? Just like Cheri said, I want to make sure the coach or the teacher is a very good one, skilled, and really cares about my kid. That is one. And the second one, I'll just make sure my kid is doing all the practice, all the homework he or she is supposed to do, that is assigned by the coach. And I think the thirdly, just maintain a constant communication with coach, so I know where they're going. So how they're doing so far. And I would say that's from me.
So I like that. So you trust the coach, but you keep a communication with the coach to ensure progress and homework. That's very well said. Yvonne?
Yeah, I've got one example for my son. And one of the saying from my son is, because he learned 2 musical instruments. So he played piano and also he learned to play the flute. And he said, I really enjoy the music, but in fact, he does not enjoy practicing. So since he started to learn the flute, then I found out one very good solution is send him to the wind band, and then he can enjoy the music with the team, so with the friends. So then I don't care a lot about how long he would practice at home, because at least every week on a weekly basis, they need to spend about 2-3 hours together and then practice. So I think that's also quite good. And from time to time, and you really see the passion from his side, not in practicing, but enjoy the music. I think that is very important.
And making friends in a social environment. That's
exactly.
A very wise way to do things. So thank you for elaborate on the time management. Next is relating to budgets and money spent on education. Now, again, I'm going to engage the audience by launching the second poll, budget, to compare US education and Chinese education. Which country do you believe spends a higher percentage of their GDP on education? Okay, I'm waiting for more people to answer. Oh my God, very interesting, really interesting answers. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll and share the result. So 100% of us believe China spends a higher percentage of its GDP on education. Unfortunately, the people who voted for this answer, I'm going to tell you this number. Stop sharing. In terms of GDP, percentage of GDP on education, US spends 6.2% of its total GDP on education. China spends 4.04% of its GDP on education. So actually, US is the country, US government spends more of its GDP on education, but when it comes to family spending, that's another story. Hence, the second begin. Going around the circle from Yvonne to Cheri to Faye. What do you spend on your children's education? And how does the new education policy, double reduction, 双减政策, how does it impact you? Starting from Yvonne.
Okay, so I will start first. So first, what do I spend? So before your question list, I did not really think about that. So this afternoon, I started to think about that. So what did I pay for my son's education? So for school-wise, he attends the public education system, so we don't pay for the tuition. But however, we pay for his piano lesson and the flute lesson. And also, recently we also do a very professional, also musical training, musical course. And also we pay for the sports and swimming classes, the one-to-one coach, and also the badminton. So in general, we invested quite a lot in art and sports, but more on arts. We not yet started so English course or math course, not yet. Yeah, that's about what I have spent on his education. And concerning the second question about what would be the double reduction new policy to us, I would say based on the facts that we only invested on arts and also sports, so far not yet a lot of impacts. But as a mother, I'm very glad that the government launched this policy or this new policy, because I have been always struggling a little bit. So should I send him to the math school for the math course or the English course? Should I? Because a lot of his friends already started the so-called the math course at the age of about 4 or 5 years old. And quite a lot of his friends also studied their English course at the age of 3. So we did not do that. So I'm always wondering, hey, would he catch up with his friends? So have I done something wrong? But now with the new policy, I will say, okay, let's see. So if he is a little bit slow catching up with his friends, then of course I still need to invest some money on that. But otherwise, I think so far it's okay.
Great, thank you so much, Yvonne. By the way, Yvonne's son, Zheyo, he's a fantastic boy. Recently, this 11-year-old boy in Shanghai did a collaboration with a US grandpa living in Florida to host a session in English about a space excursion. So definitely, I don't think your son needed all these pressure. Now over to Cheri. What do you spend on your children's education?
My children also attend public school, but there still are fees involved in that. And so for each child, I would say at the public school, I spend $800 to $1,000 per year for their public school education. And Yvonne talked about the extracurriculars as well. The extracurriculars at school, they cost about $300 per year, per season, per student. But the extracurriculars that we do for privately, for my daughter, probably between $3,000 to $4,000 per year, because it's year-round sports. And she goes all over the United States and meets people from all over.
Great. Faye, over to you.
Well, okay, my kids go to private schools in Shanghai. I would say it's pretty pricey. The cost of, I think each of them, I think the total year, the private school, that would be 40 grand US per kid. That is inclusive the tuition and all the school activities. So that is one part. I think another part, another big spending would be on the sports, because my son is doing basketball, swimming, and sailing, and my daughter's doing tennis, and all of them are, I think, as you know, I think the private sector of sports, they actually have pretty high cost. So yeah, I would say that part probably like equivalent or a little bit less compared with the tuition spending a year. I think, but I think sports wise, it's inclusive tuition, gear, and sometimes they have like travel games or training. Sometimes they do like a training, international training as well. So yeah, it's a pretty big spending, but we don't really do any academic tuition right now. We don't, I mean, as far as for now, we don't really see the need. I think both kids are doing well or catching up. But I don't know, maybe like when they go to high school, I don't know if we're gonna, do some like tutoring. That I don't have experience yet, so can't tell.
That's really interesting because Cheri just said, on average, parents in the US spend about $700 to $1,000 a month on youth sports, and Faye, you also invest a lot of your time and money on children's sports. May I ask why? That's particularly to Faye and Cheri. Like, do you expect your children to be in Olympic Games? Like, why?
Cheri, you go first.
I was a collegiate athlete, so I did play sports beyond high school, and I was not Olympian. But for me personally, I've also been a coach, and I see the value of what sports does, not just the athleticism and the physical education, but it's about being a part of something larger than yourself, learning how to work with others, that you may not like, but you have to work together towards a common goal. And Wasela mentioned that it's great for mental health. Yes, it is. During COVID and during the lockdown, when my children could not participate in their physical activities with their friends, they all suffered drastically with mental health, feeling depressed and feeling anxious and feeling disconnected. And so that is the value for me, is that it is helping them create these relationships, helping them learn about dynamics that will help them in business after they are no longer students.
Yes, so I like what you said. This is a skill bigger than sport itself. It teaches us how to play in a group, and it's the same like what Yvonne was saying, sent Joyo to play in a band, practicing in a social environment. And also it's a great way to maintain and in a way have a good mental health level. Is that the same reason, Faye? Is that the same reason you have giving?
I would say pretty much the same. The only difference is I didn't really have, I had some like sports background or like a sports dance background, but I didn't really do a lot of sports myself. I didn't purposely arrange kids to do that. I think because kids, their school had a very strong culture of sports. School had a school swimming team is very strong from since they were very young. They did the swimming classes, and they have when they are big enough, they got enrolled into the swimming team. They go to swim meets. So I think all of that encouraged them to like the sports, and but gradually I see the value of sports. I think Cheryl mentioned a lot of physical excellence, the teamwork, and I see how my son transformed in his the training in the sports. He used to be very shy. He was very into himself. But like in the basketball, it's a teamwork, right? So he learned to talk loud to his teammates. He learned to be a leader of the team, even if they don't have an official team captain, but he is regarded as the team leader, and he's behaving as a leader in a team. I think that I was very, very impressed to see that. I think this is the real leadership, right? Being a leader without a title, and really cheer for your teammate, and and encourage them. while, you know, they're in need. I feel like they've learned so much from sports. And also another thing is, because now, especially in China, kids are so spoiled, so spoiled, right? A lot of the hobbies, a lot of the extracurriculum, they're considered as clients, not as a trainer. But in sports, in real sports, I think they learn to respect the coach. They learn to respect their teammates. They learn to respect their own timing and their own effort. And that kind of discipline they have learned, I think is invaluable, especially for kids nowadays.
So Faye, thank you so much for sharing, especially the story of Lincoln Jr., your son, how he transformed. A little story,
Yeah.
maybe you don't even know. A common friend of us, she's the mom whose son plays in the same basketball team of Lincoln. And she said to me how great Lincoln was because her son was bullied by other players. Lincoln was the only one who stood up for him. So that's a big thanks from Lincoln's basketball teammates' mom. So you did a great job. That's what she told me. She said Faye did a great job bringing up Lincoln. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's the second part. And final, third part is, what's elite education in your eyes? Again, a little bit of quiz for audience in the group. I'm going to compare US education and Chinese education. So these are top 10 countries for Chinese students when they choose to study abroad. Among these top 10 preferred destinations for Chinese students, what do you think are the top 3? So have a go. You can scroll down because there are 10 choices for you to make. Interesting. So that's Chinese students who would like to study abroad. What are their top 3 choices? Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. This is what we as a group have voted together. Congratulations. For the top 3 countries for Chinese students, their preferred choice to study overseas, US is number 1, UK is number 2, Australia and Canada, they are the third. They are on par to each other. So that's fantastic, everybody. You did so well. You hit it right there. Now, I am going to compare US students. So among the top 10 study abroad destinations for American US students, what do you think are the top 3? Where American students would like to go when they choose to study overseas, okay? Interesting. Okay. Do we have more takers? More people taking a guess? Okay. We need a few more. Okay. It's coming. The answers are coming. I'm going to end the poll now and share the results. So the common perceptions are the top 3 countries are UK, France, and Germany. Okay. The correct answer for year from year 2010 to 2015, the top 3 countries for American students to study abroad are UK, Italy, and Spain. Looks like people like tropical countries where you have good weather and nice food, except UK. We don't have very good weather here. So that's study abroad destination preferred by both countries. Now, let's do questions again. What's elite education in your eyes? And what are you most proud of about your child/children? Yvonne, you go first.
Okay, so concerning the elite education, I mean, it's a difficult question for me. So I think will be include, I mean, academic performance-wise, I would say this might be one of the thing I would concern, and also sports and arts, and also the education also for how to behave properly in different scenarios. So which I think that is very important, because I don't think that academic is the only thing out. So I think it'll be something combined with other stuff as well. So yeah, this is for me my answer to this question. And then the second question about being proud of my son, what kind of personality? I would say I'm very proud of him because he's very honest, and he is very kind and warm. And the most important thing is he's always willing to help others. And ever since he started his kindergarten, his teachers in kindergarten and primary school, and also even for the first year with the junior middle school, the class master came over to me and told me that he's very, very helpful. So I'm very proud and happy about this.
That's great. He's honest and warm, and he's always there to help others. What a fantastic child. What a fantastic boy. So thank you, Yvonne. Cheri, over to you.
Yes, I think that out of all the questions that were asked today, the question, what is an elite education to you, is the most difficult for me to be able to respond in a short time period. I personally don't like the word elite because it says that it's something that's only for a small set of people. And I like to think of having a quality education for as many students as possible. So I feel that if I'm going to use elite, that the class sizes are small so that the teacher to student ratio is smaller, providing the students with as much opportunity to get assistance as necessary. I also feel that having a diverse school, so there's diversity amongst the students and diversity amongst the instructors, the teachers, administration, because where I live, there isn't a lot of diversity. At least when I was a child, there wasn't. Now there is more diversity, and I think that's really important for our children to be global citizens. So that's really important to me. And then finally, providing a variety of opportunities for the students, so that if you have a student who is a musician, that they have opportunities for doing music, drama, that they can do that. And it's not just about sports. We need to have the arts in the school. Arts are extremely important, and they are being cut from many programs in the United States. What I'm most proud with my children is that I look at them individually. It's really hard not to compare your children, but it's something that I really strive to do, because what I feel my daughter, what is good for her, what she should strive for is different than what my son's. I'm so proud of my one son who, when I met him at 3 years of age, I was told that he would never walk and he would never talk. Well, now he plays golf with his teammates from his school, and he does require extra help at school, but he's doing extremely well. And I often hear from other people what a kind person he is. And that's much better than him being able to hit a golf ball 300 yards. I just want to have my children be kind, helpful citizens. My other son, he is kind of awkward, to be honest. He has an amazing sense of humor, and he is the first person to call his grandparents and say, "Can I come over and help you with your housework?" He likes to help others, so that's really important. And then my daughter, what I'm most proud of her is that she had cancer, and she managed her cancer with grace and courage and fought so hard, and she is cancer free now, and she has used that experience to try to help others who are experiencing difficult situations. So my fourth daughter is 22. So I'm super proud of her as well. She is finding her own path. And I love that she is her own individual and she will give everything she has to help another human being.
What a great family you have, who demonstrated extreme strength and passion to help others, grandpa and other people who are in the same situation as your daughter used to be. Fantastic. Thank you, Cheri. Faye, what's education in your eyes? What are you most proud of Maya and Lincoln?
Yeah, actually, I have the same reaction when I heard the word elite, because I feel like, okay, to me, I feel like that's a little bit, yeah, it's like for the very few, and it's like it hints some sort of privilege, right? But I feel like it's really not about the privilege. It's about the I would say, the wisdom of the educator, not necessarily about, the resources. So to me, I think whatever quality education or what education is really about, to me, but I think most of the educator, at least, well, I wouldn't say a lot of the educator, a lot of schools in China got it wrong, is that I feel like it's not really about the knowledge acquisition, which, a lot of schools in China are spending most of the time on. I think it goes way beyond that. I think the really quality or really wise education is about, help our children understand themselves, understand who they are, and help them inspire their passion for life, encourage them to pursue their dreams, no matter what it is. It can be very different. It doesn't have to be mainstream, and to encourage them to be themselves and to live the fullest version of themselves. And also, so that is, of course, that has a requisition is about the independent thinking. Only with that, they're going to be able to perceive, perceive their own dreams, and not caring about what other people think is important, or what their friends think is important. So basically, that is what I consider as the education I really appreciate, right? And another thing is, I'm proud of my kids. Yes, I'm very proud of my kids. Many things. I think one very important thing I would say, name one, would be, I think their ability to be loved, their ability to feel, to perceive the love around them. That is actually very important. So in other words, if their heart are touched, because we went to a summer camp last year, and then it's some summer camp in Yunnan, and actually the teacher gave us feedback without naming, providing their name during the feedback. But I was surprised. But of course, the teacher gave me feedback later on. After the summer camp, the teacher felt like my daughter Maya said, out of that many kids, felt like Maya is the only one who can always sync with all the loving act. Maya can always feel. So when she will always feel other people's love toward her, and she would her heart is touchable. But while most of the other kids, their heart is has was hardened shell outside. So they're in a protective mode instead of a loving mode. So I think this is the feedback. I mean, not surprised to hear, because I hear very similar feedback on my son, my daughter, from other people as well, how how they, you know, how they perceive this world with love, and also how they give out love. They have this capability to help other people, just because they want to, you know. So I think this part is like, I'm really proud of them. Just like what Mingji mentioned to me earlier today, it's not surprise. I mean, it's nice to hear, but I also heard like a similar feedback from other parents, different things. But I feel like, yeah, if you ask me, like out of many things, many achievements, what I value the most, I think this part is what I value the most, because I think with this, they're gonna have a very enriched life.
Absolutely. Their ability to perceive and give love, their emotional intelligence and empathy. So Faye, I want to ask you, because I know you also spent some time in helping with educational projects in less developed areas in China. You went to Tibet and you went to Yunnan, which is like the Shangri-La of the nice, beautiful areas in China, but people are not necessarily better off. So would you like to share with us briefly what's your experience volunteer with educational projects in these less developed areas in China? What did you see? How did you feel?
Well, actually, I didn't go to Tibet, but I went to many mountain areas. Not instead of coastal area, there are also like inland mountain areas. They are less developed, but actually, it's very interesting because I followed quite a lot of projects. Some projects, I think, like the students that like literally have nothing, like can't really afford to go to school. I would say that is very, I don't really see that a lot, especially in the minority, you know, the ethnic areas. Government is actually investing a lot in terms of the basic facilities. We're talking about schools, we're talking school facility, we're talking about dormitory, tuition covered by the government and everything. But what I see is, first of all, still there's some, like I would say, disparity in terms of resources. For instance, I feel like girls are not really getting as much resources compared with boys. I think that's from the family, how to say, the prejudice or family decision. You know, once they're in high school, is family willing to, you know, continue to sponsor the education for the girls? So we for those things, we actually help. We go out and give scholarship to those top students, girl students. We help them. So in that way, we encourage the top student to continue their study, because we believe if we change a girl's life, we can. It's not just a woman. It's not. We're gonna change a family, and we probably change like you know, a much bigger family afterward. So we do a lot of girls projects, and another project we've been doing is we actually went to this mountain area. They actually have very good. If you look at the school facility, actually it's very good, because everything's invested by the government, right? But they don't really have how to say, psychological support. So those girls, they're in those areas, they're not lacking. I mean, they have cell phone and everything, but they don't have any access to their psychological growth, or if they have any questions about you know, the teenagers. But do they have a proper you know, education, or do they proper influence in psychological, or you know, in their body growth and everything? So basically, there's a project we've been sponsoring to go to those schools, and instead of like a granting like a material or like a granting scholarship, so this project actually go there and do some it's like a sisterhood help, like a sisters help sisters. Sisters are sharing the life stories with younger sisters about, how to deal with your body change, how to deal with, this emotional swing, that's like a sisterhood talk. And also have this ceremony in US there's a Sweet 16. So we actually help the local student have their own ceremony. So it's to celebrate that they're entering into a new era of their life, into teenager, and how they're being loved. Their body, they as a person, they deserve the love. They deserve deserve the care. They deserve the love. So I think that's from the psychological perspective. I think I feel like that's I feel that's making a lot of impact, because when I go to do the project execution, right? I attended those events. It's really touching. Not just in a sense to help those girls, but in a sense I feel like through that I feel like I am connected to them. This a sisterhood connection. It feels very very fulfilling for me as well.
It's great to hear the kind of support you give to help people's mental growth and spiritual growth. As you said, maybe in these areas, it's not necessarily physical resources they lack, but more soft resources, good quality educators, coaches, and mentors they are lacking. It's great to hear what you've been doing for these projects. I couldn't stop laughing when Cheri said, "Oh, for our entire session, we did not talk about the importance of getting the highest grades possible." That's right. We talked about music, sports, mental growth, spiritual growth, but no grades. So that's a question for Yvonne and Faye. Do you think you are a typical Chinese mom, or for your friends and other parents, do they necessarily share the same view you have?
Well, for my case, I don't think I'm the typical parent in Shanghai, because being honest, for the past 5-6 years, I was also a little bit nervous, because we are my son is the only kid who did not go to the English or math courses since grade 2. Yes, so he's the only one, and we got a lot of pressure. And other parents might also ask why you don't send your son to the school. I'm not the typical one.
How about you, Faye?
I would say probably like in international schools in Shanghai, I don't really think, I think I probably is like, I wouldn't think I'm an outlier. I think most families share the same view. And also because we've seen a lot of, we've seen a lot of successful cases with senior students, with students that graduated like years ago, that courageously follow their own dream and their own path, and they have achieved something, not necessarily like making a lot of money, but they have achieved success in doing what they like. And recently, our school, Shanghai American School, we're doing like a series of graduates, where they are and what are they doing. And we can see they're doing like a lots of different jobs, different works. It's not really that we've seen people like doing photography. We've seen as a job, as their career, and we've seen